Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forest. I am so excited tonight. I have so much juicy stuff to share with you. It's unbelievable. I am Pelenta Forrest. This is my forest. Grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. And remember, everything you hear on my show may or may not be true. So do your own research and check your facts. Tonight's music lineup is Where is the Love by Roberta Flack, Backlash Blues by Nina Simone. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Love You All My Lifetime by Chaka Khan. And as soon as the Gap Band brings us in with the party train, we're going to get started with some real exciting news. Oh, I can't wait. Anybody want to take this ride? Be sure to get your ticket. Hurry, don't you miss it. And everybody's got to stand in line to be sure that you could be right on time. Everybody, come aboard. Everybody, come aboard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ow. Check this out. Woo! Man, I have such news to talk to you about this evening. This is some news. We're going to start off tonight with Lost in Space. Okay? Japan's space agency has said it will abandon efforts to restore or retrieve the Astro H satellite, also called the Hitomi. The satellite was launched February 17th to observe X-rays coming from the black hole. Now, contact was lost on March 26, sparking a scramble by Japanese scientists to find out what happened. Now, the next time a similar satellite will be launched is in 2028 by the European Space Agency. Now, hold on, because I'm getting to the big bang here, all right? Now, of course, NASA has their hands in this too, but the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency has concluded that this particular satellite is in a state which its functions are not expected to recover. Now, did you hear what I just said? It is in a state where its functions are not expected to recover. But then they turn around and say that they've received 3 signals from the Hitomi. They've received 3 signals from the Hitomi. Then they say the signals didn't come from the spacecraft. Okay, well, where did the signals come from? And it's just floating around out there. It's just floating around. They don't know where it is, and they're not going to retrieve it. Oh, hip and ho. And guess what? It cost $270 million. So we have $273 million just floating around in outer space. But it's okay. We're not going to retrieve it. And it's sending out signals. It might be sending out signals. It may or may not be. We don't know. But it's just floating around. And we'll try again in 2028. They just tell us any old dang thing to shut us up, don't they? Okay. Moving right along to the next story. Sleepless slugs on the rise. Now, did you know that snails can actually sleep for 3 years? Well, check this out. apparently, I'm not the only insomniac running around town. Well, snails and slugs aren't sleeping for 3 years anymore because last year's wet summer, followed by one of the warmest winters on record, has helped to create a generation of sleepless slugs. And guess what they're doing? They're destroying our gardens and they're wreaking havoc everywhere they go. So if you have a garden or shrubs or flowers or whatever, and those little nasty buggers are out there causing destruction, you know what you can do? You can put copper tape around your plants. That might help keep them away. Or you can buy nematode worms, because they basically feed off of the slugs. But what you don't want to do, and this is of course for animal lovers and non-animal lovers too, because if you don't have a fenced in yard, you know, you have cats running around, skunks, raccoons, possums, or whatnot. But you don't want to use toxic, chemicals, because, they could harm the animals. So, let's see here. There is something called, where is it? Oh, I can't find it now. It's something else that you can use that's less toxic. I can't remember what it is now, but look it up online. You can find it. But there's all kinds of safe, non-toxic products that you can use to keep bugs and those little critters out of your yard. Now, here's another story that that I thought was quite shocking, and it's animal rescue. Now, in 2011 in Peru and in 2013 in Colombia, they banned the use of wild animals. They couldn't use them in circuses anymore and all that kind of stuff, which I think is great, especially after hearing this story, and you'll probably agree. Now, listen at this. More than 30 lions were rescued from circuses in Colombia and Peru, and they've now been flown to South Africa to start a new life in the Emoya Big Cat Sanctuary. Now, these lions, the ones that weren't surrendered, were actually seized. And the ADI, which is the Animal Defenders International, they were behind this action, and they said that, now listen, you're not going to believe this. I just had to shake my head when I heard this, and I got a lot to say about it. Almost all of these lions, they had their teeth and their claws removed. Okay? Now, these lions have suffered tremendously, but apparently now they're on the road to recovery. They're in a 12,355 acre sanctuary. They have drinking pools, platforms, toys, and they have access to really good veterinary care. But I mean, how cruel is that? When you see people treat animals that way, is it any surprise that they treat people so awful? Seriously. Now, how would you like it if somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, Bob, you want to come and play in my playground? I'm going to make you a star." Okay, so you get over there, and what do? They pull out your teeth, and they pull off your fingernails and your toenails, render you defenseless, and get to whooping your behind. Don't make no sense to me. Well, here's something that I thought was cool and interesting. You're going to love this. When the 787 Boeing was revealed, introduced, presented, ta-ta-ta. Now remember, the key word here is 787 Boeing. Well, how's this for a coincidence? It was introduced on July 8th, 2007. Yeah, check that out. And this is something cool too. Now, I don't know. Well, actually, I found this out, but then I also found out later that it's information from 2011. So you can only imagine how what I'm getting ready to tell you has increased. NASA has awarded 5-year grants averaging $7 million each to 10 research teams from across the country, including 2 from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Man, you know what? Let me tell you something about NASA. They have their hands in everything. They are off the hook. I would love to be a NASA insider. Oh my gosh, I would love to be in there so bad. Man, my lips would be super glued together. I wouldn't tell y'all nothing. You hear me? I wouldn't tell you nothing. I'd be up there, boy, I'd be on a cloud surfing with the aliens. Boy, Pelenta, do little green men exist? What? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm serious. Okay, anyway, moving right along to cool and interesting. Check this out. Rafflesia arnoldi is the largest flower in the world, and it can get as big as an umbrella. And I don't mean the little tiny umbrella you get at the 99-cent store. I mean a gigantic umbrella. And when I heard that, the first thing I thought of was Alice in Wonderland. You know, you often wonder where, Alice in Wonderland, you often wonder, but you often wonder, where do we get some of these tall tales from in these children's stories? You know, you get into some of these African and Colombian jungles, you see some of these big, gigantic, just big, gigantic things that you don't think exist, and they put them in these children's stories. Oh, and listen at this. This is going to kind of creep you out, but listen. There are more beetles than any other kind of creature in the world. Isn't that creepy? There are more beetles. Beetles. You know what that makes me think of? It makes me think of, oh God, what is it? The Mummy. Remember when all them scarab beetles were just like, and they were just all over. I don't care. The Flash Gordon, the Flash, Super Running Man, you cannot get away from them beetles. I don't give a dang how fast you ran. You were not getting away from those beetles. And then remember the episode of Twilight Zone? Was it Jewel of the Nile? Remember at the end when the reporter was dying and he said, "Your mother?" And the lady said, "She's not my mother. I'm her daughter." And she'd get that beetle and put it on them, and it would suck the life out of them, and they'd all be, and they turn to dust. Oh my God, that's off the hook. So moving right along with my drama, the hottest planet in the solar system is Venus. Do you think there is life on that hot planet? Do you think there's life up there? Because I think that there is life. It's hot life. Oh, you know what I just thought of? Remember Prince's song, Pop Life? What's the matter with your life? Pop Life. Is the poverty bringing you down? Hats off to Prince. May he rest in peace. But I think there's life. I think there's life everywhere, all around us. There's invisible life that we can't see with the naked eye. I think there's just life everywhere. But I thought that was pretty cool. And let's see here. Oh, you're gonna love this story. Listen at this. I had to read this more than once, but it's so cool. A fisherman helps a humpback whale. Officials said that a fisherman spotted a humpback whale and he was tangled in the Monterey Bay. So the fisherman followed the animal until rescuers arrived, helping to save its life. Now, the California Whale Rescue Director, Kathy Coots, told the Monterey Herald that if it wasn't for John Favazza, if he hadn't stayed with this whale, the whale would have died. You know, because he was actually caught. Actually, the whale was 35 feet long, but he was entangled in a nylon rope from a crab trap, and it was tangled around his mouth and other parts of his body. It took a team 5 hours to free this humongous animal. Now see, you would think that nothing would be able to contain this big beast of an animal. You know, you would think that he could just burst out of that thing with no problem whatsoever. But look, he got trapped. You know, like they always say, too big to fail, too big to get beat up and all that kind of stuff. No, there is, I don't care how strong or big or bad you think you are, there is always something that's going to take you out. You know, there's always something that's going to take you out. So let's see, one last thing I want to talk about here is the spelling bee. Now they're going to start making the spelling bees harder. So after 2 straight years of ties, the Scripps National Spelling Bee is adding more sting. The championship rounds will last longer and the words will be harder. The Bee, now televised in prime time by ESPN, has exploded in popularity over the past 2 decades, and the spellers have gotten increasingly savvy. Well, now the final rounds, they're going to make you spell up to like 75 words. So here's a suggestion. When you get up there now and they'll say, okay, spell cabin. Don't get up there all excited and say, hi, cabin, C-A-B-I-N, cabin. And everybody just claps, 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 claps. This is what you got to do. You get up there and you say, what's my word? And they'll say, cabin. And you'll say, cabin. C-A-B-I-N. C-A-B-I-N. Cabin. Because you know what? When you get up there all jolly, C-A-B-I-N, then you know what they're going to do? Next, they're going to say, oh, that's great. Now you can spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Anyway, that's our show for tonight, folks. Stay tuned for more and find out what's in Pelenta's Forest. Thank you so much for joining me. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go to my website, PelentaOurForest.com, and buy my book, Angels Passing Through. Carlos Santana is going to take us out of here with Europa. Earth's Cry, Heaven's Smile. Thank you for joining me. I am so, so very grateful.